turd.
Quite a bit. Okay, folks, we're live with another episode of BS Busters. Thank you for joining. And today we're talking about something near and dear to my heart, which is some news stories of nothing but bullshit. So with that being said, before we dive further into it, let me get my gas mask. I'll let my other panelists introduce themselves. Go.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, thank you for coming to the Bullshit Busters. I'm Joe Moonstar, and get your fresheners. We're going to need it.
And this is PD Don from Video Game Facts. Boy, I got some BS that I wanted to bust.
Well, I got my gas mask, my shovel, and my waders. Let's get into it. So basically, I guess we can start with what I put up first, which is this is an article from What Culture Gaming. I will share this with my wonderful device. Oh, I've completely destroyed the picture. That's okay. Okay, as you can see now, 9 biggest necessities for the next generation of consoles for the players. Yeah, whatever. So I'm just gonna go over the headers. If you want to actually see this, it's on What Culture. So What Culture Gaming. Actually have a solid launch lineup. This is number 9 from, I guess, order from least to greatest. I really don't want to call it that because all of these are pretty important to these people. So I'm just gonna say 9. So basically, actually have a solid launch lineup. I think we can all agree that having a solid launch lineup when you launch a new console is important, right?
This is a no-duh.
But they say in this article, it speaks volumes that the 2 games that were supposed to represent the Xbox One and PS4's capacity as consoles were Rise, Son of Rome, and Knack. 2 of the most forgettable and ridiculed games around.
I almost forgot that Rise is a game.
Well, it is. It's not a very good game, but it's a game.
Yeah.
I mean, it isn't. It isn't very good. Neither. I say Rise is a little bit better than Knack because at least Rise is like a 15-hour game. You can beat Knack in 5 hours. It's a very short game. It's $60 for a 5-hour game. That is embarrassing at launch. Free online. I think we can all agree on that.
Right.
I had to look at the other 2 systems dragging Nintendo into this mess. But yes, I agree.
And I mean, basically, look, listen, I know that it doesn't cost anything to, I know that it costs money to run servers. Not a lot. It's not that expensive, but these companies want to make more money. Fair enough. But here's the problem, okay? In order for you to play most of these games online anyway, you need a decent online
Internet connection,
which you're already paying for with your internet service provider. So why the hell? You're basically paying double, right? You're paying double for these companies.
They could have used the money for, but they could have had us pay for any extra accessories for our online experience.
Yeah, but the online experience isn't commensurate with what they're charging. For example, Microsoft's been charging $30 to $50 for Xbox Live for years, and it's not really that good. I mean, it's serviceable, but it's not great. PlayStation Plus is a dumpster fire, and I'm sorry, I know people are gonna say you're a Nintendo fan, but I'm gonna just tell it like it is. Nintendo's online gets the job done, but their voice chat service is ass.
If anything, I prefer it that way, since that means there's other things to use besides their system.
Well, that's true, but here's the thing. When you start charging people online for online service, and you're like, they aren't charging now, but they're saying we're going to start charging for online services, and your voice chat is still ass, then what the fuck am I paying for? They're like, well, you can play these old games that have new features added to them. Don't give a shit. I have the original versions of these games. So you got to do better than that. Well, we have cloud saves. Wouldn't be a fucking issue if you had better storage on your device. You got to do better than that.
I'm going to have to get on you a little bit for that, because that's with people wanting to download everything online and save pictures and stuff, taking up all that memory.
Not really. I mean, like the Switch comes with 32 gigabytes of memory.
And I'm able to not burn it all.
I mean, that's nice, but here's the thing. Sometimes people don't want to go physical. Like, I didn't go physical with Mario Odyssey. I bought it digitally, and it's only like 5 gigs. But let's say I get like 5 first-party Nintendo games digitally, which, I mean, I might, the smaller games. And then I get maybe 2 or 3 second or third-party games digitally. I'm done. I have to get a memory card. Why should I have to buy extra memory if it had decent memory to start with? It's like they're like, well, you need the extra space for clouds for backup cloud saves. It's a solution to an artificial problem, because it didn't need to exist this way. The problem didn't have to exist. And like, unlike some people, people like to say I'm a Nintendo fan, but I'm not gonna stick my head in the sand and be like, well, it's not like they aren't fucking up either.
Hey, Nintendo has problems, but it's the least amount of problems compared to the others.
They aren't fucking up as badly as Sony or Microsoft, but
they got their issues.
It's they aren't squeaky clean. That being said, let's move on to the next one that directly contradicts the 9th one, which was have a solid launch lineup.
Are you serious?
Dissolve exclusive.
Are you serious?
That's right.
Whoever wrote this article has no sense of ideal logic.
And this is what Rags would also agree on, because he hates exclusives and he wants all games to be under one system.
This is the equivalent of saying, hey, I want my wife to really, really, really be good at bed, have a lot of experience, but I also want her to be a virgin who's never been with a man.
You can't have both.
That's a self-contradiction.
Those things don't work together. Those two things don't work. They're mutually exclusive. Or if you're a woman, I want my husband to be really good in bed. I want him to have some of the best moves in the bedroom on the planet. But I also don't want him to have never been with a woman. They're mutually exclusive. They don't go together.
How the beep are you thinking this, people? It's not logical. Where's your CPU so I can fix it?
It's like you going up. It's like going up to someone and saying, "Hey, I want you to make a hamburger with meat that doesn't have meat in it." What?
I've heard the only way I could think that could actually work is with a bird burger, and I'm not sure how that's gonna taste.
No, there is a thing called the Impossible Burger that's made with soy protein and beet juice and other things that taste very much like a burger. It's the closest thing we're ever going to get thus far. It's still not a burger, though. You get what I'm saying? It's like, it's so basically he says, get rid of exclusives. They are anti-consumer and just tedious. Having to pick your console based on what games you want to play is tiresome. It doesn't encourage brand loyalty. It creates a divide. It's impossible for this to happen, as it would cause one of the two consoles to suffer incredibly. Exclusives are what drive a purchase of a particular console. No one cares about the hardware enough to jump ship. So exclusives are what sell a console. Someone should drop Microsoft the memo, but that's beside the point. I like how they keep on digging into Microsoft. Exclusives are incredibly anti-consumer and continue to push this us versus them mentality that's been prevalent in gaming for far too long. You mean since the beginning, right?
This is complete.
Tell me, how the people you supposed to have something to draw in the people if you have nothing to say that this can only be found here?
Because I remember, well, I don't remember because I wasn't alive, but I remember watching after the fact commercials with in old magazines with Billy Plimpton talking about how yes, the Intellivision looks. This is Atari's basketball. This is Intellivision's basketball. Which one looks more real to you? Like, I mean, like there's always been this us versus them mentality with gaming. I mean,
It's called competition.
Yeah, that's just the way it is. It's the reason why certain people like the New York Jets over the New York
Yanks.
Well, no, another football team from New York. The Giants. You know, they're both New York teams, but one is clearly not like the other, and no one gives a shit about the Buffalo. The New York, the Buffalo, the New York Buffalo, the Buffalo Bills. Sorry, no one cares about them. Not since OJ was their running back. And finally, the guy says restricting the games that people can play simply for their choice of which black piece of plastic they bought is incredibly frustrating. Keep timed exclusivity if you must, but just let players play games and stop funneling people into two different camps. Wow, this was a wishful thinking plot right here. This was total wishful thinking. Those of you who are watching as an aside, if you want to leave questions in the comment section, we will get to those.
Eventually.
Yeah, we'll get to those. So just leave them in the comment section. We'll get to them. 6, don't go portable. Sony, Microsoft, under no circumstances, I repeat, no circumstances should you try to go portable. It is more likely to bury your console than anything else. Don't jump on Nintendo's bandwagon and stick to what you are somewhat decent at. The last time this happened, it was quite sad to watch. So just make a normal console. Just because it's a trend doesn't mean that it should be followed. Nintendo has a sticking power and the ability to experiment because of the fact that gaming is built around them. Jumping on the bandwagon will be transparent as glass, not to mention complete suicide. Trying to encroach on Nintendo's market and contend with one of the most popular consoles around isn't going to end well. It'll just end up like the Kinect and PlayStation Move, half-baked ideas that no one wants. I mean, I have to agree.
I agree with those caveats, at least as far as I know, because that seems like a warning shot.
And I also agree because of what happened in the past.
I mean, look at the Kinect. The only time that aping another console made that console successful was with the original PlayStation, which they just took the design ideas from the Super Nintendo and just brought it into the 5th gen. That's all the original PlayStation was. And a lot of money hatting so that exclusives would never hit a Nintendo console. And they still have not hit Nintendo consoles since. But that's just the way it is. Other than that, it's never happened. So let it go. Don't change the controllers. This might seem contradictory considering one of the previous points on the list. But this is less aimed at the PS4 controller and more at the PS3 one. There is no need to experiment with controllers as both consoles have their I guess no one at What Gaming proofreads theirs down to pat. The Xbox controller is perfect and the PS3 is as well. Stick to the designs that work and that people like instead of slapping a big old unnecessary button in the middle. It skews player muscle memory and is inconvenient. And don't you dare change the charging port so that we have to buy entirely new cables. Don't pull an Apple on us. Yeah, Apple is bad about doing that to people. Thoughts? I guess Jewel dropped. Your thoughts?
Let's see. My thoughts on the whole. Well, the changing controllers depends on what gimmick you're trying to do for your system to make it unique. Like if it's simple enough, then it'll surely become a success. But if it's too complicated, then it's gonna fail entirely.
I would normally agree with you, except for with one caveat. Even though we say that Nintendo's controller is really innovative, basically, even with the Switch and the Wii U, it's the same controller setup, except they add little bits and bobs to make it slightly different. Like what they're calling the HD Rumble with the Switch. Like, aside from that, though, it's basically, just get it down. I'm of two minds of it, because I'm kind of tired of just derivations of an SNES controller, which is what almost every other controller has been since then.
Right.
I would like for them to do something new, but maybe they won't. So, whatever. Guess we can move on to number 4. Free backwards compatibility.
This one, we can all agree is a good thing.
Yeah. I wish it was more. Like, I'm tired of having to rebuy. Well, I know they want to sell their old shit to you again, like they do with everything else. But I personally don't want it. I'm tired of it.
And we can at least expect that the 3DS successor will at least have some backwards compatibility for 3DS titles.
Oh yeah, because they have to
attract the 3DS audience.
They want to carry over some of that 3DS audience, which is a smart move. Number 3, fixed trophies and achievements. How's it going, Jewel?
Got DC'd.
Yeah, fixed trophies and achievements.
I'll let you achievement hunters go for this one.
Well, I'm not an achievement hunter. I always felt they were useless. Like, I know some people who are really into it, but it just seems stupid to me.
I'm a really avid achievement hunter, but in real life rather than video games. I create my own achievements to make my life harder than it is.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. But anyway, I don't see the point. I don't see the point of having achievements in video games, because most of the achievements that are in these games are too goddamn easy. Like, literally, I was playing an Assassin's Creed game and at my friend's house, and I started a new save, and literally you go and you open a window to sneak into a guy's house to kill him, and I got a bronze trophy on the PS4 for when a door closes, a window opens. Like, it was literally one of the stupidest. I'm like, seriously, a trophy for opening a window? It's like, if the trophies, if they had trophies that actually meant that you had skill with the game, like if Legend of Zelda had a trophy where it's like, hey, you didn't die in any dungeons at any point in the game or outside of the dungeons, you have 0 deaths. Okay, that's an achievement. But even then, that's kind of stupid, because in past games, they had kind of in-game achievements where if you had a certain skill level, it changed the game. Like in Link's Awakening, if you didn't die in any of the dungeons, you got to see the best ending where Marin is turned into a bird, because that's a cool ending. Instead of letting her be a human being who travels around singing to people, just turn her into a damn bird. That's kind of horrific. But that was actual achievement, at least in my mind. Your thoughts?
I agree that achievements are supposed to be something that says that you did something that's pretty difficult. And
collecting every single
item.
Yeah. And you get an award for it.
Collecting every single item or doing massive amounts of damage to a boss by studying their weaknesses, like, you inflicted 60,000 points of damage in like 20 seconds on a boss. Damn, okay, that's worth giving plot points to. I just played the game and walked down a pathway and shot a guy That's an achievement.
Oh, you want to hear a real bogus one? You're probably gonna have a rage on it, and you probably could already guess it.
No, what is it?
You started the game. Here's an achievement. 5 points.
Yeah, I've heard of that one. Okay, let's move to number 2. Cross-platform multiplayer.
This is on both third parties and the game develop and the system developers. Third parties for making these games, but the developers, Sony.
I think this is more of the platform holders because it's their infrastructure that's holding it back, not the developers. Because if a game has cross-platform play on PC to whatever console, then it should also theoretically have it to other consoles between each other, and that's up to the console infrastructure holder, which in this case is Sony, because Sony's like, look, if you want to play with your friends, they're going to have to buy our system, and you're going to have to play with them on our system. One reason why I probably will not be getting a PS4 anytime soon, if ever. Bastards. But continue.
So, as what Joel has alluded to, looking at you, Sony, with all your anti-crossplay antics.
Those bastards. People are going to say, how can you say that about Sony? I had a lot of fun on Sony systems, but on, like, one of the worst things that happened in the 8th gen was Sony getting the hardware lead, like in a huge commanding hardware lead, because they got arrogant. Here's hoping that in the 9th gen, their next console flops so that they learn to not be arrogant.
Yeah, but then again, I bet you they're going to give it to Microsoft since nobody wants to see Nintendo on the top.
I don't think Microsoft's going to make another console. I know people keep on saying, oh, they're going to make another. I don't see it. I just don't see it. They might make, if Microsoft does make another console, it's just going to be a unveiled Steam box. It's basically going to be a Steam box, except it's going to cater more to Microsoft titles.
Didn't the Steam box already release and flopped?
Well, that's the thing. If Microsoft comes out with another console, because their consoles are already becoming more and more PC-like, which is why you're seeing more games that were on these consoles coming to PC, because the consoles themselves are more PC-like. It's easier to port them. What I think is going to happen is if Microsoft does release another console, it's just going to be like it's just going to be a Steam box. It's basically going to be a mini computer that you can play games on. But it's going to be like more catered towards the Microsoft side of programming. So it's going to be more x86 architecture and easier to use DirectX on. Because the problem with Steam is that Steam's architecture is based on Linux. And so basically, if you use the Steam OS, like there's very few games that use Linux, that have a Linux build, because it's a completely different it's a completely different programming language than x86 or x64. So
moving on to the last part of the list, and that is that's your cue, Mr. Redbox.
He might be a little off right now, so we might have to fill in.
All right. So, Joe, anything you got to say?
I already, I'm going to say this right now. So, as I said, if we want good cross-platform gaming, then we have to be on both third parties and the system developers. Third parties got it a little easier because All they gotta do is make the games in a sense that communicates to all systems. On the manufacturer side, as I hinted to earlier, really, Sony? Really?
Yeah.
Well, aren't you surprised?
Well, no, the power went out. The power went out where I lived. It blinked on and off, so I had to switch to my cell phone.
Ouch.
Yeah, yeah.
Much worse than me getting the blue screen of death during our podcast.
Well, it wasn't so much that. It just kind of,
That I can understand. Anyways, to pick up on why I probably missed number 5, I got the note saying, seriously, isn't that how gaming got stale for ages? But then again, you guys corrected me on the fact that that's dependent on the people that make the games that made it stale, and not the controllers themselves.
Yeah. It's like basically the reason stale gameplay is not so much the controllers. It's basically like just it's that it got easier to make games. It got easier to chase power and pretty graphics than to innovate how those games are made. Right? Like, to me, the most innovative time for gaming was the 5th and 6th gen, because basically the systems had enough power for them to do things in new ways. And people had new ideas on how to make games. But then once the 7th gen hit, everything just became first person shooters, and it's like derivations of first person shooters, or whatever. Third person shooters, first person shooters, and now the big thing is MOBAs. Like, everyone wants to do a MOBA. Whether something should be a MOBA or not, they want to make it into a MOBA, which is disturbing.
And kind of sad, really.
Okay, moving on to the number 1 thing from the What Culture link article: storage capacity. And here's what it's written. It is understandable that as games grow and get more complex, the amount of space they take up expands. However, the storage capacity of the current generation of consoles compared to the amount of space taken up by current games is ludicrous. Looking back at the PS3, you can have near enough of 100 games, often more, without so much as a blink. But then you look at the PS4 and how it struggles to even cope with 10. It is frustrating and incredibly annoying.
Well, I mean, whose fault is that? That's the developer's fault. It's on the developers and the publishers, because the developers don't want to use any compression technology, and they just want to do a lazy port. There's no optimization. There's no code optimization for it to be on consoles.
Have they ever heard of optimization? Oh wait, that's not in their vocabulary. How about we look it up together, shall we?
I mean, the late Satoru Iwata was great at compressing data for one single game.
Well, basically cleaning up your code. Don't have redundancies. Have clean edits. He was pretty good at it. I think everyone these days, I think the developer, because basically people are chasing easy versus
efficient.
Well, easy versus proper. Because sometimes shit that's not easy, that's proper is not easy, and sometimes things that are easy definitely aren't proper. Like, it's easy to just take the PC version of a game that's 50, 60 gigabytes and port it over to the PS4, the Xbox One. That's easy. Proper is to actually optimize the code so that it runs well on the system, and it doesn't take 60 damn gigs of space to do it.
And also, a little bit of a side rant on this part. Put your games on the beeping cartridge or disc instead of having it be downloaded only.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at you, Capcom. I mean, that's even more egregious. It's like, how the hell are you gonna sell someone a game, right, and give them half the game for this much, and then the other half for this much? That's just some bullshit.
You try.
It's kind of like saying that people who study gorillas in the wild are racist too, because of how they disguise themselves as gorillas in order to study them.
Method of camouflage.
Using, if you're actually using the outfit, like that's viable. What's not viable is some dude. Could you put it up again so I can look at it? Because if it's what I think it is, it's totally racist. If it's what I think it is, I don't have proof, but
I'll repost it.
Yeah, because
There. Can you see it now?
yeah, I'm sorry. That's blackface. It's not cool. Not kosher. It's not kosher.
I have feeling it might be for some. I'm iffy with this because it's the look of the creature and the look of the disguise. It makes you wonder who's creating these things.
Well, I mean,
I'm kind of surprised that even without the red lips that comes along with the blackface look, it's still considered a blackface.
if you paint your face black, trying to look like something you aren't, even if it's in comedy, it's still kind of, especially if you're not, like, it's no. And I know Japan's gonna be like, no, but we were just doing whatever.
And as I said, cue facepalm.
Yeah, I'm not cool with it. I'm sorry, I'm not cool with it. It's still blackface. Not cool. Not cool. And Japan should know better.
If anything, this is probably one of the few episodes that got banned in recent history.
Well, and the thing is, you think they would have learned not to do it after the whole
Jinx
thing, but
and they learned a lesson with the Jinx episode by changing her skin color into purple.
Yeah, but it was too late. Cause you could look at Jinx when it first came out. I'm like, who? No.
Well, if you look at the history behind Jinx's design, she was supposed to be a parody of some kind of fashion.
Yeah,
Ganguro girls.
Yeah, Ganjuro girls. But the thing is, the reason Ganguro, like, it's still blackface because the reason Ganguro girls were Japanese girls who were obsessed with the black R&B icons of the 90s, late 80s, 90s, and they would basically like dye their skin. They would tan and dye their skin dark, and like basically put on makeup to make their lips seem fuller. So even then, it was blackface. Like, it's still blackface. It's still fucking racist. you know. And it's like, it's not okay. Here's the thing about Japanese racism. It's not malicious when it comes to stuff like that. It's just they don't have any. It's like they don't seem to understand. That's not cool.
As if As if the U.S. didn't have enough trouble with different races.
Of course, you got that one Japanese YouTuber named Nobita who has made some rather controversial videos in regards to Black people being offended.
Oh God,
I'm
boo!
sorry. I'm sorry. I think I reserve the right to be offended if someone's using blackface. I'm sorry.
But we can move on to another BS
Like I
busting
said,
topic.
the only time I saw a blackface that I wasn't offended by was in Tropic Thunder, because it was a parody. It was a parody done about method actors in Hollywood who just become that role. Like it was done to parody something that was like to ridicule something that's kind of a problem. Um, like, so if you're doing something to parody, like if you have a racist white guy, like if you do a parody of a Klansman who's a total buffoon, yeah, he's a Klansman, but he's a total buffoon showing how stupid and pathetic the KKK is. I don't have a problem with that. But if you're glorifying it or making it seem like it's a viable option, lifestyle option, then I have a problem with it. Or treating it lightly, and that's kind of the problem I have with Pokemon. But let's move on to the next topic.
Supposedly we don't have that many articles that are BS to bust.
What?
But instead, just some regular video game related news like Warframe coming to the Switch.
Okay, well, let's go. Let's get into it.
To be honest with you, I haven't heard of Warframe much until now. So somebody give me a detail.
Basically, Panic Button is doing a port of Warframe onto the Switch.
It's a first/second person shooter that is insanely like it's really popular right now. It's not
not as popular as Fortnite.
Yeah, it's basically not. It's like number 4. It's not Fortnite popular or Overwatch popular, but it's up there. People really like it on PC. If it has crossplay, it's gonna be hot.
Okay. Though that's a little odd because I never heard of it, but also I'm kind of glad I didn't. So skip.
Well, it's free to play. I mean,
and so is Fortnite, and I put skip on that too.
Okay. That's what you want to do. It's your choice. No one can force you to play what you don't want to play.
Yeah, but if anything, I at least try to see what the game is about before I go head into it.
So there's an IGN interview with Reggie Fils-Aimé in regards to the Mario movie, and here's what he stated.
That's been a while.
Certainly, our focus from Nintendo's perspective, as well as working with such an accomplished partner like Illumination, is to make sure that what is created is something both fans will love, as well as will be a great introduction to folks who are not familiar with the world of Mario. And we see ourselves as making worldwide consumers smile through our intellectual property. Fundamentally, we do that 4 ways. We do it with mobile. We do it with our license relationships with other companies like Kellogg's. We have other entertainment, which is where we put Universal Studios and Illumination. Then we have our dedicated video game business. This is a key part of our strategy. This is an area where we are having a range of conversations, just like we did it for the other big 2 partnerships. When we have something to announce, we will. And that's the end of his statement.
I don't think they've done shit yet with it.
And the movie is supposed to be dated to next year.
Yeah, that's probably going to be the case.
And since we don't got any big details about how the movie's gonna turn out, we're gonna have to play Mr. Game & Watch.
Well, I mean, it can't be as bad as the game from the 90s. So, I mean, it's all,
Do you
Though to,
really want to
yeah,
set the bar that low and see him sink lower than that?
I'm
though
just,
to be fair, Shigeru Miyamoto himself said he enjoyed the 90s movie because of how different it was from the original games.
yeah, that's what we call in the business PR spin. Um, that movie was terrible. And I don't think anyone would ever not say it wasn't terrible.
It's
And you know what's even more shocking? There's a cult following to it to a point that they made a comic book sequel to it.
Well, I take that back. The Super Mario movie isn't terrible. It's just not. If like okay, if you are considering to be part of the Super Mario, like if you take it for just a silly little comedy type movie, it's fine. All right. If you are looking at it as if it were um,
As a Mario movie.
if you're looking at it as if it were a movie based on Super Mario, it's not very good. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
you gotta take it in a certain way in order to appreciate it.
Basically, yeah, yeah. If you just look at it as just being just some stuff, you're not gonna care. You're not gonna feel very strongly about it. But if you're looking at it like it's, you know, a Mario game, like something that matters, then you're gonna be very angry. You're gonna be very upset, and it's just not gonna be worth it. But that's just me. It's not a very good film. Um,
Moving on to Mario related news. Mario and Luigi developer Alpha Dream is doing a recruitment listing for Switch games, smartphone games, and PS4 games.
it's weird they're making PS4 games because if last time I checked, Alpha Dream is a second party studio.
If it's second party, that means they can make other games outside of Nintendo systems.
Eh, sorta. Eh, I could be wrong. Let me look it up. I think they might be third. They might just have a third party relationship with them, but I'm pretty sure they're they're
A second party to Nintendo?
second party. Alpha Dream. Alpha Dream. Um, I guess they aren't a Nintendo party. I guess they aren't a Nintendo second party. I guess they're just a third party that just have a really, um,
Interesting connection.
they have a special partnership with Nintendo.
Just like next level games, because they used to do third parties as well, third party titles as well.
I guess I don't know, but that's weird. I thought they'd be more into it, but whatever. I don't know. I'm kind of weirded out by it. I don't know. I don't know where to go. I don't know where to go from there. It's kind of weird. Just saying. Uh, it's kind of sad. I wish they weren't making iPhone. I wish they weren't making PlayStation games, because I mean, will Sony people even buy Alpha Dream games?
It's like I think it's like Cuphead being on the Xbox. It's a good game, but is it really for that platform?
Basically, yeah. That's my thing. I'm like, will they appreciate a game like this?
Threat has been detected.
So
and even more Wario-related news, even though it's more of a case of Wario-related, but he's part of the Mario series, so whatever. Confirmed that WarioWare Gold will allow players to make their own dubs with cutscenes.
Their own what?
Their own dubs with the cutscenes from the game.
I guess that's cool. I don't know.
I'm trying not to facepalm because I could already imagine the possibilities of something really weird coming out of that.
I'd rather would just have a new.
Because because they just show a new mode on their toy. It's called Studio, where players are allowed to dub their own voices over different movies in the game.
So basically, WarioWare is becoming the next Mario Paint, except it's weird.
I was going to say, this is DIY all over again.
Basically, that's what they're doing. Which doesn't bother me, but I just wish we had a new Wario game and not another WarioWare game, because WarioWare is just too weird for me.
And the game also has full voice acting.
Well,
so you get to hear Wario.
That's not really surprising because they all had voice acting.
But this time you get to hear Wario in full, complete sentences, rather than just grunting or laughing.
I mean, does that matter? Does anyone really care what Wario has to say?
Because it feels weird to me because I'm not used to hearing Wario speaking in full sentences. Same with Mario and Luigi and Waluigi. Or any of the Mario cast, for that matter.
And since it kind of works depending on the game type, like if you're having an adventure, it sometimes is better to use action than words, but for some game genres, well, it's better for voice acting. And Wario, well, I'm surprised he scrounged up the budget for that. I'm sorry. That is my little jab at how some games really go all the extra mile for voice acting, and well, you know.
Nintendo's weird like that. Like they'll cheap out. Like they cheaped out on they'll cheap out on some games, and other games they'll like go all out on. It's weird. They're weird like that.
And you guys heard about Atari Flashback Collection, right?
No, I haven't.
First time I heard that, so
it's a collection of all the Atari games from the 2600 and 5200, about 150 of them, for that matter, and it's coming to the Switch.
Okay.
And the good news is none of them are E.T.
E.T.'s not that bad of the game, though. I mean, it's not good. I mean, don't quit it twisted, but it's not the worst game on the system. Unlike what many people may tell you, it's not the worst game on the system. It's bad, but it's not like, oh my god, I have to change my life.
It was so bad that it caused the video game crash of 1983.
It did not cause the video game crash. Okay. You want to know what caused the video game crash? Okay. Basically, E.T. was a part of it, but really what caused the video game crash was Atari basically making tons and tons of subpar games, E.T. only being one of them. You have to remember, the guy who programmed E.T. had 6 weeks to make a full game. And here's the thing. He had to make an E.T. game. All he had was the script of E.T., and that's it. The man made a fully functional game. You can play it from beginning to end. It's not a buggy piece of shit in 6 weeks. You want to know what really killed what really killed Atari and helped drag it down? They released a port of Pac-Man, one of the buggiest pieces of shit made. They had 10 million Ataris in the wild. They made 12 million copies of Pac-Man, of this buggy piece of shit version of Pac-Man.
It barely looks like Pac-Man and has terrible hit detection. Pac-Man.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like Pac-Man. It doesn't look like Pac-Man. You glitch through walls. It's unbeatable. Like that, you know, like ET didn't help, but I mean, and that's like one of like 4 games they did that with, where they had to just bury shit in the ground to hide it because they didn't know how to run their company. It was run very badly. Nolan Bushnell was not a good businessman. And when Warner Brothers bought it, it didn't get better. Yeah, I said it.
And what about the Atari porn games like Cluster's Revenge?
I mean, people like those games. People bought those games, but they weren't like enthralled with them. Like no one was like, "Oh my god, I have to get this." I mean, because they also did Beat 'em and Eat 'em, and no one really cared about that game. I was like, "Oh my god, I need Beat 'em and Eat 'em."
I'm not gonna ask what that was.
AVGN did a review on it.
You can figure it out if you understand slang terms for various sexual acts.
I said something tells me I'd rather not find out.
You wouldn't want to know anyway. It's bullshit. But that's neither here nor there. Basically, what I'm saying is that I don't think anyone cared. Like the pornographic games, like they didn't help, but it wasn't like that's not what killed that industry. You know what I mean? Like bad business management killed that industry more so than games that were a little risque. Because I mean, the PC has had risque games for years, and it's still a viable market. You know what I mean?
It just means that you have to develop something that works and isn't turd.
Yeah, don't make a piece of shit and expect just because you have name recognition that it's going to sell really well. That's basically the rule of the video game industry. If you don't want to be like Atari, that's why Nintendo said you can only release so many games, and there's quality assurance, and there can only be so many of these types of games and stuff like that. And people got mad. Oh, we can't have that. You're messing up our business. No, because
we're doing restraint.
This is an industry that can make a lot of money, but if you mess it up for everybody else with your bullshit, that's not good.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there's another crash from all this BS.
I could see it. Then again, I can see a lot of things. I can see a lot of things that are kind of weird.
If I remember right, one of our own actually put up a video for that kind of idea.
Yeah. But any other topics before we move on to the main one?
Unfortunately, I'm all out.
All right.
That's about it.
I guess we can move to the main one. The main topic is going to be a fun one, I thought. What was a game that you guys played where you essentially were shocked and amazed that this game, like initially you kind of wrote it off, and then you played it and you realize this game is much better than it has any business being, and I actually enjoy it? What game?
Ooh, that's a tricky one.
It came out and you were like, man, like you saw it and you were like, this game is some bullshit. Then you maybe went back, it was on sale, or you saw someone playing it and you start playing it and you realize this game's actually better than it's actually pretty good.
Oh, probably the Jak and Daxter series.
Which one did you play first?
Jak 2.
Oh, well, yeah. Like I would tell anyone this: if you're gonna get into the Jak and Daxter 60 series, don't play the first game because it's not very good. The second and third games are much better. for reasons. And what moment made you think, wow, this game's much better than it has any business being?
Oh, the open world, the overall open world of it, where you get to steal and drive flying cars and cause havoc.
Yeah, Grand Theft Jack.
Yep.
Break yourself, fool! Psh, I'm stealing this bike.
It's basically GTA for kids in the future.
Wouldn't it be cool if Naughty Dog, instead of doubling down on these shitty Nathan Drake and Uncharted and Last of Us, if they made a massive open world Jak and Dexter game where the whole point was just like you're in the future, but you're a guy from like you're like a Jak type character from like the boonies, and you're like stealing people's rides, flying around doing stuff, beating up people. Wouldn't that be cool? But we'll never get that game because they don't want to make games like that anymore.
Sadly.
No, we don't make games like that anymore.
For me,
Sadly.
it was oddly Strikers.
Mario Strikers?
Yeah, GameCube edition. It wasn't too much of a It wasn't too much for me when I first started it, but then I started to get really into it and started feeling the timing of certain moves, especially when scoring against against my family when they tried to block the goal.
Fair enough. Anyone else? And so basically, it was the multiplayer that made it for you.
Actually, it was the game overall. When you go single player and then multiplayer.
All right.
You know that feeling, right? When a game starts to really impress you, and then you have a hilarious time when you get someone else on the action.
Not so much. I don't play a lot of online. I don't play a lot of multiplayer games, and the ones I do, like I never really felt like it wasn't anything for me. Like I never had that eureka moment because I'm pretty much already into it. I guess it's my turn. A game that I kind of discounted and then I played further into it and realized it's actually pretty good is the original Baten Kaitos. Because I had a GameCube and I really wanted an RPG for it because Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles just wasn't.
It was tasteless.
That was not an RPG. There's a reason I fucking hate Square Enix. I've been trolled by those motherfuckers too many times. But that's neither here nor there. So, like, I saw in Nintendo Power magazine, they were like trying to pump people up for Baten Kaitos, and I was like, this looks interesting. And then I got it and I played the beginning of the game, and I'm like, this game kind of sucks. Like the first beginning of it, like the very beginning where you're in the forest and you're fighting enemies and you can only draw like 2 or 3 cards. You can only use 2 card hands at a time. I was like, man, this game sucks. And then I classed up and I started figuring out how to play the game and strategies and stuff like that. And I'm like, this game's actually pretty good. And by the end of the game, like that's one of my favorite GameCube RPGs. Like I wish they would re-release that game or do HD remaster of it or something, because it's astonishingly good, and the battle system is what really made me like that title, because it's much better than it has any business being.
Okay. Anything else you guys say?
That's it.
I said my piece.
Anyone have any topics they want to bring up before we wrap things up? Anything.
Oh yes, how Laboratory just announced their last character for the second wave of DLC friends for Kirby Star Allies. It's Adeline and Ribbon.
Okay.
That's actually pretty cute. Both.
They also announced the release date of when the second wave Dream Friends will be available. It's on July 27th.
That's right near the current Splatfest that's about to come up.
Yeah.
So now I got to make a choice. I got to be like, okay. But that's not really a tough choice for me because, you know, I haven't really been playing Smash Bros. I haven't really been playing that game for a while, and I don't want to get into it now. So. So I feel okay about
that. Context?
Oh, what I'm laughing about?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just there's this. You've heard about this new My Hero Academia meme, right? Where Deku's mom says help, and then he pops out in All Might's outfit saying, "I am here."
No. But then again, I'm not really into memes that much.
It's become an exploitable meme where instead of Deku, it's someone else, then vice versa. This one has a mixture of SpongeBob in it, where Deku's mom says help, and then SpongeBob and Patrick came out instead. And then there's the meanwhile title card, and it shows Squidward taking a shower. Then you have young Deku coming out, and then Squidward screaming.
Okay, TMI.
I'll just show you the link to the comic, just to better understand the joke. At least for Joel, at least.
The thing is, I don't watch My Hero Academia.
Oh, it should. It's a pretty good anime.
I read the manga and I was like, this is cool, but it just doesn't really do anything for me. I'm pretty much boiled. I'm tired of shonen anime at this point. You know what I mean?
So this one's pretty good. It pretty much subverts all the tropes, the typical shonen anime tropes.
No, because the main character is like he's like, I will become a great one and I'll be a hero one day and all that jazz, and it's just like how many times can we see this story told? You know, how many times?
Some things are timeless.
At least his goal doesn't involve like being the king of all heroes, and instead just become a decent hero himself.
Yeah, but I mean, he's not as annoying as the other tropey characters who do that, but he's still like, I mean, like the only anime I've really been enjoying is One Punch Man.
Boy, your tastes are so big.
No, I like One Punch Man because it's just.
And I'm still waiting for season 2 of One Punch Man. I mean, it's supposed to come out this year.
That's going to be as much away as trying to endure episode of Pop Team Epic.
I like One Punch Man. I think One Punch Man is one of the best animes I've ever watched because it really does subvert the genre. Because Saitama is a complete idiot with insane superpowers, and everyone treats him like an idiot. They're like, you're weak. You don't know what you're doing." And they don't seem to realize that the only reason there's a hero association is because when he had hair, he saved the butt chin chairman's grandson. And before he got his powers, like, it's hilarious.
Then again, if anything, I already know there's there's another hero that's already an idiot in a sense.
Goku?
Yep.
Yeah, but Saitama, if someone was so dangerous that they shouldn't be allowed to live, Saitama would kill them. Like, Goku's an even worse idiot because, like, someone who clearly, if they died, it would save so many other people. No, they're strong. I want to fight them.
As I said,
idiot. Yeah, he's Goku's even worse than Saitama. Although I bet Saitama could kill Goku. He probably could.
You hear that? Watch Mocho.
No, I'm just saying Saitama probably could kill Goku.
No, I was referring to Watch Mojo, who just listed Goku as the number one most overpowered character and put Saitama at number 2.
Oh, Red, I can hear you firing up now.
I think Saitama is more overpowered than Goku because the thing about Goku is that at the end of the day, like, Goku has weaknesses, like definable weaknesses, whereas Saitama has no weaknesses that we know of except like his own stupidity.
Intelligence.
Yeah, his own lack of intelligence. But aside from that,
this is why I know that both of them are extremely dangerous, because you give somebody that has low intelligence, unlikely strength, and superpowers, and
Saitama's not stupid. He's oblivious. I take that back. He's not stupid. He's oblivious. Goku is stupid. Like, he is like, he does things where it's like, you just made things 100 times worse. I mean, look, he friggin' let Vegeta go when he could have killed him and saved so many other people.
Let's see. He let Vegeta go. He let Frieza get a free punch in or a free cut in, depending on how you look at it.
He even gave Frieza, he's like, look, I gave you some of my energy so you could leave. Why? Why would you do that? Jesus, you're an idiot.
I was going to list off a little more, like allowing Boo to come out and play, letting Cell be complete would be on Vegeta, I think.
Yeah, that was Vegeta. But they're both stupid. Except Vegeta actually will kill you. Vegeta will kill you if he thinks you're going to be a problem later on.
Oh, by the way, Joel, remember that one episode of Mad TV where they parodied Moneyball by using Dragon Ball Z characters?
Oh, beep.
They did. There's an actual episode of it in Dragon Ball Super, where the Dragon Ball characters are playing baseball.
That was last night, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was idiotically stupid. And oh yeah, I now remember. It was because of one meme that was at the end that was too funny and yet sadly prideful at the same time.
Yeah. I laugh when they showed that part.
I don't like Dragon Ball Super. Don't watch it. I find it to be. How can I?
You're lost.
Stupid.
It has its moments.
Stupid. There. That's the word. Stupid.
I said it has its moments.
Plus, I don't know about you. I'm tired of Goku as a character.
That's, as I say, it has its moments, but you have to dig for them.
I'm tired of Goku. That's my one thing. It's like there's so many other interesting characters in Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. Why do we keep on going to the Goku well? You know, because there are other characters who have stories that need to be told. But no, Goku. to hell with other interesting characters. Just Goku. That's the only one we're talking about. Just Goku.
As I said, you have to. It has its moments. You have to dig for them.
You know. What? There are other interesting characters? No, to hell with that. Goku.
And continuing on with the anime talk, Trigger Studios just announced a new anime, and they show their protagonist. And he looks like a mix between Kamina from Gurren Lagann and Springman from ARMS.
I guess. I don't.
I'll post a link. I'll post a link to it.
I mean, I hate to say this, but nowadays I'm more of an old taku. You know what I mean?
Huh.
Like I don't really like the only animes that I watch that aren't like old stuff nowadays is like the animes that are like basically based on like someone gets sucked into an MMO or a fantasy world or something. Like I like
that's just a current trend right now. It'll fade away eventually.
Yeah, I like those, but aside from that, I'm not really air quotes, I'm not feeling the modern animes by and large, sadly. They don't do anything for me. I like Overlord though. But Overlord is essentially people getting sucked into an MMO. And the main character in Overlord is so mean that it's just kind of fun seeing a bad guy just do his thing. And I like Log Horizon. But I was reading the light novel before the anime came out, so.
Hopefully the anime's keeping you entertained.
Well, they only did 2 seasons of the anime. And they're supposed to be doing another season, but like we don't know. So, but the light novel's still going, so I can read that. I tell you what I have watched. The JDF in the JDF in a fantastical world. It's about this like normal guy who winds up like this portal opens up in Japan, and he's like in the Japanese Defense Force. He winds up going into this portal into this fantasy world and taking down a dragon, getting married to an elf woman and to a dark elf woman, and like going on these adventures, and then like going back to his world and like how the juxtaposition. It's like slice of life mixed with fantastic action. It's actually pretty good. But I mean, like I've moved away from shonen anime. You get what I'm saying? Where it's like some plucky little kid who's going on an adventure. I'm tired. I'm so tired. I'm so over that shit now.
But people want those back because right now the modern anime is being overrun by idols, and everyone outside of Japan hates that genre because
in short, the Moe storm is finally uplifting.
The Moe, the dudes that look like chicks,
and cute girls,
and cute girls. Well, I mean, no, this shit began with the Magic Girl mangas and animes. You know what I'm talking about? The Magic Girl mangas and animes. You know, where the girl has superpowers.
Sailor Moon.
Yeah, it began with Sailor Moon and Magic Knight Rayearth. You know, these people can't get mad now. Oh no, it's too much. No, you're the motherfuckers that pushed this on us. And now you got to deal. You know, now you got to pay the cost to be the boss. You know,
We went from gaming to animation, ladies and gentlemen.
well, they're viable. They're connected. A lot of manga games. A lot of mangas are coming from video games these days. Like all those Persona animes, which I don't like. I know people are gonna be like, "What? You don't like Persona animes?" Nope, don't like them. Don't care about them. Not really into.
Oh yes, one more. There is one more video game related article I should talk about in regards to Masahiro Sakurai, in which he explains that Melee, where he made his comment, where he commented that Melee scares away many players because it's way too technical.
I agree with him.
I agree and disagree. I don't think Melee is technical. I think that the players who play Melee and figured out all those little exploits made it technical. It's not really technical. They just made it that way. And I think that, like, because I read the same article, I think that him finally acknowledging that you shouldn't really be building Smash Brothers to be competitive is what makes it fun. Because it really shouldn't be competitive, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, come on. Where's the fun? Where's the excitement? Where's the kaboom? We're supposed to be an earth shower and kaboom.
So I had an argument with Falcon Launch on Discord, and he argues that no one gave up on Melee, and he thinks that it's the best-selling Smash game related to the install base of the system it's on, with plenty of non-tournament people having fond memories of that game.
Yeah, and I bet most of them are full of salt.
And he also talks about how Sakurai loves to reference this alternative timeline where casual Smash players constantly interacted with the big bad tournament Fox-only guys and had their experience ruined, but that simply didn't happen.
Here's what I'm gonna say. Smash Brothers, okay. Playing, because I've played it both ways. Okay, I've played Smash Brothers in tournaments, and I actually have won tournaments playing it competitively. Like I've been that good at it, especially during the Melee and Brawl days. I've done both. Okay, and I've played Smash Brothers casually. It's much more fun to play it casually than to play it competitively, because Smash Brothers at its core is an arcadey beat 'em up. That's what it is. It's supposed to be fun, arcadey, anything could happen type of gameplay.
Chaos.
Yeah, it's supposed to be. It's basically it's a fan game. Okay, it's seeing your favorite characters beat the shit out of each other in an arena.
It's your official fan game of what could happen if Sonic finally got a chance to give a punch to Mario.
And vice versa. Okay.
And he's saying this through experience because he's never found a single competitive Melee elitist, and instead a majority of casual Melee players back in 2005 to 2007.
Here's the thing. Like I said, the people who are really into Melee are really into Melee, and that's their prerogative. They really like that game. Good for them. But here's the thing, okay? It's kind of like people who really like Street Fighter 2, right?
Right.
The franchise had to change, right? Like, I love Street Fighter 2. It's my favorite Street Fighter. It's the most accessible and easy to get into. But, like, you know...
There's some things that haven't evolved well that weren't developed well enough in Street Fighter 2 that evolved over the course of history.
Yeah, but then you get Street Fighter 2 is like the original Smash Brothers for the 64, okay? It's easy to get into, anyone can play it, has a little bit of depth to it, but, you know, not too much. You can play it. Melee is like Third Strike, okay? Third Strike is a very technical, yeah, you can get into it, but if you really want to get really good at it, there's a lot of technical shit in it that, like, you're going to have to put in the quality time to get good. Okay, that's the problem with Melee, is that the ultra competitive people made it so that casual people can just come in and play it. They had to learn all this shit. And here's the thing, here's why whoever's told you, Pinky, that it's like the casuals don't matter. I've seen casuals fuck up veteran Melee players by playing it casually. I've seen it with my own two eyes.
Well, Falcon Launch never told me that the casual players don't matter. He just says that he's seen casual Melee players enjoying it casually rather than competitively, and he's never seen a single competitive elitist.
Oh god, they're there. You can go on YouTube. I mean, look at someone like Shokio.
And then he also says that the competitive elitists are a very vocal minority that are exclusive only on the internet and not in real life.
Bullshit!
Yeah, what she said.
I'm sorry, but I was tempted to yell that out because that's such BS that they hog up a spot in Evo and actually booed the Smash 4 community off the stage for their own little thing.
Yeah, I call bullshit.
If that's a vocal minority, I am Lola Bunny.
I mean, I think the competitive community are the ones who make it not fun. Is because like everything has to be to their specification, which is bullshit because they're the smallest audience. Like, why would you? That's like you own a restaurant and you have a dish that only 3 people eat, but you're gonna tailor that dish so that to the 3 people who eat it, and not a dish to the people who make you more money.
I mean, seriously, who thinks that kind of beat?
Stupid people. Stupid people never.
So I imagine that after he finishes watching our podcast, he'll probably complain about me putting words on his mouth or something.
Or he'll say you misinterpreted what he was saying or something like that. People love to do
Yeah.
that. That's a big one. You're just misinterpreting what I'm saying. It's like, no, I pretty much understood what you were saying. I just disagreed with it vehemently. But hey, I could be wrong. You never know.
And that's pretty much it.
I'm glad to get some of that off my chest.
So, I guess that's the end of the podcast. You can get guys to give your sign-offs, and we'll end it.
This is Piggy Don from Video Game Facts. I recently posted an article where I talk about why your fanon doesn't matter.
And I already responded to that one.
I disagree with that assertion, but go ahead.
Basically, it's basically about calling out all the people who try to disregard anything that video game companies is considered canon because it contradicts what they grew up with before what was considered canon. Like, for example, the whole Mario's origins. Where prior to Yoshi's Islands, people thought he is from Brooklyn.
Yeah, but that was his origin, and then they changed it.
That was unofficial canon from the TV shows. It was never canon in the first place.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It was in the official Mario manga. They said that he was a plumber from Brooklyn, and then they retconned it. I mean, I don't care that they retconned it, but I mean that was what they changed it to. I mean, I'm not gonna be like, oh, how dare they? It doesn't bother me that they changed it, but they did.
I get you on that.
So isn't the manga also considered non-canon?
I mean, not the one they did in Japan when Mario Brothers first came about. When the first Mario games came about, that was considered the way it was. I mean, I know some people are gonna get mad, but that's just the way it was. I don't really feel strongly either way because I like the Mario games, but that's the way it was. But that's just me. I know everyone has their own interpretations of things because we are human. But
of course.
Yeah, that was.
And I agree with you guys too, though. If anything, the song "Ship It" would come into play with some of these people.
Now it's your turn for your sign-off, Jewel.
Since I got nothing to advertise, this is Joe Lemon Star, the Gaming Mage, wishing all you a good night, and hopefully a fresher air after all that BS we put through.
This is the Red Box.
And pipe response.